Hello, everyone.
Hi, Brad.
How are you today?
Good. Espera, abro. Venga. Hi.
Welcome to the GitHub team. How's it going?
It's going great. And for you, are you done with your rocket? Is it ready to fly?
Yeah, it's ready to fly. But first of all, we are really nervous. All my teammates are inside of me. Please, mega. Hello. Hi.
Hey, Rob has joined us. So, Rob, can you hear everything okay?
I can, yes. I don't know if they can hear me because I asked several times and they wouldn't respond to me when I signed in earlier. Can Marcos, can you and your team hear me when I speak?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I was being ignored by everybody who was in the room and I couldn't get anybody's attention.
Okay,
Okay.
well, I hear you well. And Rob, just so you're aware, I'm recording and I will submit the file at the end.
Okay.
Um,
Decirle que tuvimos problemas.
we have a little problem with the computer. We wanted to connect.
Por eso que no le
Um, if you can give you a 1 minute, you can work and fix it, please.
That's fine. Take your time.
So, Rob, let me just introduce myself. I'm Brett Bachman. I'm these guys' flyer of record. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'll be at the competition, so maybe we can shake hands if you're going to be there as well.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'm the treasurer of ESRA. I've been at the contest for the past decade or so. So yes, absolutely. We'll certainly meet in New Mexico. I live in Michigan. I'm also, presumably, since you're a flyer of record, you're level three as well. So
Yes.
yeah, a long time level three Rocketeer, etc. So you got involved with Ezra just to say they're moving it out of New Mexico,
Yeah, absolutely.
huh?
Absolutely.
Although at least Midland isn't too far from there,
Yeah.
at least compared to Michigan, at least.
Where in Michigan do you live?
I live in Lansing,
Oh,
center of the state.
nice.
Marcos, are you ready?
And vamos a ver. We are ready. I'm Sebastian. I'm not Marcos.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the thing on the screen. That's all. I apologize.
No, let me introduce. I'm Sebastian from the team. My job is to make the fuselage. So, well, we wanted to start at this moment. You wanted to talk with the avionics teams, or how how can we start?
Actually, what I would like you to do is start at the back end of the rocket and we will just look at everything moving forward.
Okay. And give me
Before we get started, Sebastian, how many people on your team understand
well,
conversational English?
we are on this moment 8 members on this team.
Right. No, I was asking how many. How many of the people there with you understand conversational English?
Okay, 3 people can understand and speak well.
Okay, and is one of you going to translate for the rest of them so that they can understand what's going on?
I wanted to translate all the team, so and that's it, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
Me pregunta si quién le puede traducir a ustedes. Y bueno, bueno, okay. So, sir, I wanted to explain it about the fuselage. I want to speak first because everybody's nervous in this moment. It's a low pressure. Well, during this time, we see all other reports and we follow with that philosophy when they building his rocket using a vacuum pump to remove all the air because the fuselage is a fiberglass. We in this moment we finish all the parts. We have to painting, and probably in the next week we finish. I don't know if you wanted to see that part of the rocket.
Yes, the whole purpose of this video review is to look at your hardware as it currently exists. If something's not done, that's fine. Let's just talk through what you've done so far and what your plans are to finish things.
Okay.
Brett, as we're going through this, if you have any questions or anything you'd like to add, please don't hesitate to jump in, okay?
Will do.
All right.
Well, and the rocket has three sections. This is a nose.
Okay. I'd like to start at the rear of the rocket, please, with the fin can and the motor mount.
Okay, and could you repeat it again, please?
Yes, I'd like to start with the rear end of the rocket, with the fin can and the motor mount.
Okay. Me dicen que es un anillo. Ring of the rocket. El anillo centrado. El control. Por la parte de abajo. David, ¿ven eso? No, David no me quedó. Porque hasta tres personas. This is the far of the rocket.
Thank you. I want to see that. You weren't showing it to me. Okay. And where's your motor tube and your centering rings and your motor retainer and all the pieces that have to be installed inside that?
Todo lo que tienes instalado dentro de tu parte que la puerta de Wait a minute.
I got dizzy there for a second.
Well, this is Marcelo. He's making the avionics system. So we're gonna show you what is done in this moment.
Hello, my name is Marcelo, and I am in charge of the avionics of the rocket. My English is not very good, but I will try to explain all of the components we are using and answer your question. I'm going to read an explanation of a few points so you can get to know all about the avionics. In our rockets, in our rocket, the avionic bay and the payload bay are integrated into the same structure. Can you see?
Yes.
In the avionics section, we have two featherweight blue-raven altimeters. One dedicated to the primary deployment events and the other as a completely independent unit for the secondary deployment event.
Where are the batteries that power those?
And as you can see, each altimeter has its own
18650.
18650 lithium-ion battery. and the batteries are housed in dedicated holders, and security will avoid.
The holder that you're showing me holds two batteries. Is one battery going to power each altimeter, or do you have another sled that has another two-cell holder to hold the batteries for the other altimeter?
No, each battery will hold each one, each of the switchers. Dice, te pregunta si cada batería
Sí.
va a estar prendiendo por diferente o si
Yes.
aparte de esto otra batería.
No.
So even though they're sharing a holder, they are going to be wired to the altimeters independent of each other.
A pesar de estar juntos, cada uno va a estar con su cable por separado.
Yes. Tenemos dos salidas van a alimentar una placa y otras dos salidas la otra placa.
Yeah. So you can see two of them are going to be empowering one of them, and then from here and also from here are going to be the wires connected to the other one.
Okay, what I'm trying to understand, do you have one battery pack that powers both altimeters, or are there two separate batteries that each power one altimeter?
They are both separated. Both of them are independent from one another.
Even though they're in the same holder, because normally those holders are a single output. You have two outputs out of that holder.
Even though both of them are stuck together, one of them powers one and the other one powers the other altimeter.
Okay, excellent. How are you going to secure the batteries in the holder?
The batteries are connected to pull pin switches.
No. How are you going to keep the batteries from falling out of the holder in flight?
Y eso dije acá, que tiene un tornillo. The battery are housed dedicated holder and secured with a bolt here.
Yes, but that bolt secures the battery holder. What secures the batteries?
Zip ties.
That's exactly what you were supposed to say. Zip ties, yes. Thank you. I wanted to make sure you were going to use zip ties to hold the batteries in place.
And
Now, what's on the back side of that sled?
Which also serves to hold the LiPo battery for the GPS tracker on the opposite side.
And what brand is the GPS tracker?
La placa que vamos a usar. Featherweight GPS tracker.
Okay. And does a featherweight GPS need a ham license to use it?
The Federal GPS tracker is powered by its own battery supplied by the manufacturer. It also has an independent power switch. This allows for relief electrical continuity on both sides of the disk. For data reception, we use the ground station also provided by the manufacturer.
Okay. So what goes in the other half of that bay? You have the altimeters on the bottom half. What goes in the top half?
El payload.
The payload will go there.
Okay. Do you have the payload?
Eso es lo que hay que preguntar.
No, no, no.
Do you have the payload?
Yes or
El
no?
payload anterior no nos dio tiempo de completar.
Do you have the payload? Can somebody please say yes or no? Do you have the payload with you?
Now to finish the payload this moment because one of their teams have left and we try to make something to fix it. This moment it have no payload rocket.
So it's not with you.
No, it's not with them right now.
Okay. Is the payload going to be deployed in flight or will it stay with the rocket for its entire flight?
Stay in the rocket.
We'll stay in the rocket.
Okay, very good. Then I'm not too worried about it. But I will want to see it once you have it ready before you come to Texas. I would like to set up another meeting so that I can see your payload, please.
Yes, of course. We can schedule that meeting too.
Thank you. Okay, and where's the tube that holds your electronics?
¿En qué vamos a poner todo el tubo? That's the tube. The
And
entire
it-
avion will go inside
Is
it.
that a coupler or is that a piece of airframe?
Sí, es una parte del tubo, sí, va otra vez acoplado.
Accoupled.
It will go again inside the air.
So that tube is smaller than your airframe and it will go inside your airframe.
Sí, sí, este va a entrar otra vez adentro de tu cohete. Yes, it will.
Este va a entrar dentro del.
No te pregunto si
Yes.
este es la parte de tu cohete.
Esta es parte del.
Ah,
Va a tener un
Este es parte del cohete. Este es parte del cohete. Es parte del fuselaje.
yes. So this is part of the airframe.
Okay. Then how many pieces are there to your airframe? There's the booster that has the fins. There's that piece of airframe you have in your hand, and there's a nose cone. Are there more pieces or is it just 3?
There are just 3.
Okay. Do you have the couplers to hold the pieces of airframe together?
Sí, sí, tienen el acoplador. Yes, yes, they do.
May I see them, please?
Yes, a minute, please. They will show you in a minute. Sí, déjame tirar.
Es que va adentro, decirle que falta todavía el para que entrar. No. Al lado quedó la copia.
Ya tengo que quiero ver.
Ese es lo que quiero.
Y sí, pero no tenemos.
Para mostrarle.
Sí.
May I see the coupler, please?
Yes, sir.
Please,
They will-
may I see the coupler?
Yes,
Yes,
I
in a
will
minute.
show you.
Decirle que está. Que está tallando.
While we're waiting, may I see the fins again, please?
Yes.
Well, this is our couplet, which okay, we don't finish yet, but it will be.
It will go. It will go.
Okay. That coupler is very long. Are you going to cut it shorter or is that the final length of it?
No, they're
We are
gonna
going to cut
cut
the.
it shorter. They will cut it shorter.
Okay, how long will it be when you've cut it?
No, el coupler. ¿Cuánto va a
Cuando
tener?
cortes, ¿cuánto va a
¿Cuánto va a
tener?
quedar? 15 centímetros. 15.
16
Centimeters.
I didn't hear what the answer was.
Well, once they cut it, it's gonna stay at 15 centimeters.
50 centimeters. And
Yeah.
what is the diameter of your rocket in centimeters?
Diámetro interno.
110. No, 104.
104 centimeters.
104 milímetros. Milímetros.
Milímetros.
104
Millimeters.
Millimeters.
104
That makes more
millimeters.
sense. Okay. So your motor, your body, your airframe is 10 centimeters in diameter, correct?
Tiene 10 centímetros de diámetro.
Sí,
Yes,
aproximadamente.
yes, that's correct.
And your couplers are going to be at least 20 centimeters long?
Dice que sí, este va a ser por lo menos 20 centímetros de largo.
30 centímetros de largo en total. Es el
So they will be in total 30 centimeters. 15 is going to be inside and 15 outside.
Okay, that's fine. And you have room for that much coupler and all your payload and your avionics within that tube?
Sí,
Yes,
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 yes.
it
Okay.
does.
Fair enough. Now let's go back to your fins and your motor mount.
Okay. El motor que quiero.
Okay.
Yes, yes. The fins, los discos.
Tiene una oferta.
¿Quién va a mostrar?
O sea, falta mecanizar el disco. Y le puedes decir que falta sí.
This is our digs. We're not finished yet. We have to make
¿Qué quiere decir?
Falta trabajar en torno.
¿Mecánico? Pero que no es el mismo con el otro.
Este es lo que ahí ya lo tengo.
¿qué parte es el-
Entonces, la parte baja del motor y el otro es la parte alta.
Once again, please show me the back of your rocket where the fins and the motor mount are. The fins and the motor mount, the rear booster, the back of your rocket. I would like to see that, please.
¿Cómo va todo?
And what is that ring?
Es anillo te pregunto.
La parte trasera del motor, el anillo de la parte trasera del motor.
That's the lower ring that goes at the back of the motor.
And
Inside
how
the
is
rotor.
it going to be attached to the airframe?
¿Cómo se llama?
Tornillo.
Using bolts?
Bolts.
Using bolts.
It's bolt.
Bolts going where? There's nowhere to put the bolts.
Falta.
Esto.
Right,
No,
but where do they go into? There's nowhere to put them into once they go through.
Falta perforar. Falta.
Sí, ¿dónde? Que va a ir adentro y que ahí se va a ir perforando. So once the ring is inside, they're gonna put the bolts inside this going through the rocket. Once the holes are here.
Okay, so that ring fits inside the airframe.
Yes, it does.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what about the motor tube and the other centering rings?
¿Dónde va el tubo del motor y los otros discos?
El tubo motor va dentro de este.
Ujú.
El tubo del motor se refiere al que guía.
Esta es la guía. Sí, esta es la guía. Y después la punta del disco empuja.
Sí. Sí,
Esta es la guía del motor y,
Ujú.
y más arriba va a estar el disco de empuje.
Ujú. So, este es la guía
Guía,
del motor.
guía.
Okay. So this ring is the one that will lead the motor inside it, and at the other end of it, there will be this disc.
But how are you going to hold your motor stable inside your airframe?
Que va a estabilizar tu motor adentro. Entonces va a quedar
Va a
fijo.
tener anillos de madera en toda la sección.
Okay.
Anillos que van a centrar.
Like this one.
De madera.
It will have some rings out of wood that will go all over the motor attached to this.
Okay, but you have bolts sticking into your airframe at the moment. I can see bolts sticking into the inside of your airframe. How will you be able to put centering rings in with all of those bolts in place?
¿Cómo vas a meter con todo eso ahí?
No, desde arriba.
From the top,
From the top.
and then it will stay right there. So they will put everything inside from here,
Okay,
from the top of it.
so you do not have a motor tube.
No, sí, no va a meter un tubo por abajo. Va a salir nomás de por ahí, ¿verdad?
El anillo.
El tubo.
El tubo va a entrar de abajo.
Y eso es lo que pregunto.
Sí,
¿Cómo
el
vas
motor,
cómo vas a meter con todas estas cosas de acá?
No, es más, el diámetro es más chico. El diámetro.
No, it has a smaller diameter.
El motor tiene un
Yes.
diámetro más.
Do you
So
have a smaller diameter tube that the motor goes into, or is there going to be no inner tube for the motor?
yes, it will be an inner tube. So the
Okay.
diameter will be smaller.
But where is it? Do you have it yet?
¿Ya tienen?
¿El motor? Sí.
No,
Sí.
pero acá con ustedes para mostrarles. No,
El motor vamos a comprar allá.
they don't have it here. We
Okay.
can't import the motor from Paraguay to the United States. So they arranged it to have it over there.
No, not the motor. The motor. Okay.
Cool.
Brett, have you been working with these guys? Because they clearly don't seem to know what's going on here.
I've worked
What,
with them. So guys, let me just speak to him to answer that question for 1 second. So I've worked with these guys extensively. I've reviewed their RockSim files, or excuse me, their Open Rocket files and the ab-bay design that they had. I didn't do a video review, so this is the first time for me to actually see these parts. But the overall design of the rocket, as I saw it in their earlier design docs and the sim files, look good. So, in my view, we need to be patient, given the language barriers, and I'm happy to help get the team a little better prepared for the next meeting, if you like. They seem to be smart and hardworking, and the kinds of people we wanted coming from outside the US to this competition.
Okay. And I'm totally fine with that. And if most of what we're facing is a language issue, I can totally understand that. I do. I'm just concerned that they have quite a ways to go and not a lot of time to get there. And I didn't get the feeling from them that this was, and this could be an issue with their home country or whatever, that maybe these folks were fairly new to rocketry, that they don't have high power certified members of their team or anything.
No, they have extensive experience flying high power, but commercial motors are not available in their country. So everything is research. So they've never used a commercial motor before. They've only done research motors. And
Interesting.
they have extensive experience with formulations, and I've seen their test fires and their MODA data. So we're talking very different laws in Paraguay versus the United States.
I assume that was the case. I've been dealing with teams from India and Turkey and things like that, and I know it does vary all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. So they've flown a lot of rockets. I can't attest to the specific skills of each person that's on this call, but
No, I totally get that.
in general, there's considerable high power experience, just using a very different motor technology.
Okay.
And
Now, when they've made their own motors, have they been solids or are they primarily hybrids?
solid.
Okay.
It's all solid. Mhm. And they fabricate their own motor cases and everything. So,
But they did not fabricate the motor for this time? They've got a
no,
commercial?
I helped them. They bought an Aerotech that has a similar thrust curve to what they've been doing their testing with. So they have a test rocket that has a thrust curve similar to the motor that they selected for this launch. They ordered it from Wildman.
Okay. All right.
So it's a single use DMS motor.
Okay.
From Wildman, and when they were talking about the motor tube, I think that the terminology is very different.
Is what's catching us. Although it sounds like maybe they're not going to be using a motor tube, just center.
And that's a detail I must admit I didn't validate when I looked at their sim files. I only looked at the more external and coupler side.
And certainly, and this is true for many of these teams, not just these guys, but what's written up and what's presented on paper versus the actual flight hardware can sometimes be drastically different.
Yeah,
but that
exactly.
being said, team, can I ask a favor, please?
Yes, sir.
Can I get you to bring together all of the pieces of the rocket that you have and point your camera at it so I can see them all, please?
Yes, of course. Quiero ver todas las partes.
Hay un juego que me
We're moving them to a table. So
That's
you can see
great. Thank
them.
you. Perfect.
I do agree with Brett. I think that language barrier is one thing that it's just having them closer to express themselves as the way they want it. Because I've heard them in Spanish and they're genius. I'm here. I'm not part of the team. I'm the wife of one of them. I'm just helping them out with the language.
Doing translation services. Well, thank you very much
Yeah.
for helping with that.
You're welcome.
Will you be traveling to Texas with the team?
No, no by the moment.
Will there be anybody there who has conversational English?
Yes, they're professors.
Okay,
They will
very
be
good. As long as there's someone who can translate for us, that's what I'm mostly worried about.
Some of them actually as well have an English level, but in the basic intermediate. So they are able to present themselves and also introduce themselves, but not to maintain very fluid conversation.
Sure.
Okay, they are ready.
Okay.
Cambia la cámara. Cambia la cámara. Tengo que quitar.
There we go. Much better. Thank you.
Could you guys slowly take the camera and zoom it in on all the parts so Rob can see them clearly?
Okay, stop at your nose cone for a minute. Does your nose cone already have the shoulder attached? It's hard to tell. I'm sorry. Will it slide in?
Pregunta si entra.
Falta trabajar.
Yes, it will slide in.
Okay.
Falta cortar, sí. Falta cortar. Falta cortar y falta. Sí.
Now, is the shoulder tapered or is it a smaller diameter? It looks almost like it's tapered.
Pregunta si está conociendo o si vas a o si tiene un diámetro muy pequeño.
Sí. Tiene un diámetro más pequeño.
It does have a smaller diameter.
Okay, can somebody please slide it into place like it would be when it's going to fly, please?
Falta cortar.
They need to cut this very so they can slide it in. It's not ready to slide it in yet.
So that it's not in its final configuration.
No, it's not.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't understand that. That's fine. Then you don't need to worry about that beyond that. You will have when your rocket flies, where will the chutes come out of?
¿De dónde va a salir el parachute?
De la parte del medio. De drogue.
This is the drogue parachute.
And the drogue will come out by the nose cone.
Yes.
Where will the main be? Where's the main going to be housed during the flight? Yes, I know that's the main. Where is it going to be? Which part of the rocket will it be housed in when the rocket is flying?
It will be right in the middle.
Will it fit inside your coupler tube?
Sí. Yes.
Yes, it does.
Okay. How are you going to secure your shot cords? Yes, but what will they attach to on the rocket?
So
Okay. And for the avionics, that's fine, but at the other end, how is it going to be connected to the booster?
se queda ese. Sí. Decirle, el otro lado va acá estar ese también.
For the other side, this part of the disc will have this one as well, so they can secure it to it.
Okay, and that's going to be installed in the lower airframe.
Yes,
Okay. How long is the shot cord for your main?
3 meters.
Okay, that is a very, very short shot cord. We will be hoping for at least 8 to 10 meters. 3 meters is very short, and what can happen is the pieces of your rocket will slam back into each other when you have that short a shot cord. Can you get a longer one?
Yes.
Hasta la base del paracaídas. Base del paracaídas.
El,
Esto sí completo.
este completo, ¿cuánto era? Sería el total, 3 más 4.
7.
So they say that this part here, they have 3 meters, and then this part here has 4 meters. So in total, it has 7 meters long.
And that's all going to be one part while you're flying.
Sí. Necesito más lejos.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay.
¿Y dónde estirar?
Mm, Okay. That's not.
Guys, what is the distance between the lower part of the rocket and the upper part of the rocket with the shock cord between the two?
Because it looks like their 4-meter attachment are actually a parachute shroud lines. So their shot cord is only 3 meters long.
Yeah,
That doesn't seem long enough for a main on a rocket this size to me.
I agree with you. So, guys,
Sí, podemos.
was my question clear about the distance?
Would you please repeat it?
Yes. So the one end of the shock cord is connected to the booster of the rocket, the metal disc you just showed us.
Yes.
The other side of the shock cord, the other end, is connected to the ab bay, the U-bolt on the ab bay that you showed us just a few minutes ago. What is the total distance of the white shock cord between those 2 points?
Inside the rocket.
So yeah.
No, when it's in the air and everything is pulled out like
Yeah,
it's going
when
to be
it,
falling
yeah,
under its
when it
parachute.
comes apart, what is the distance between those 2 points with the cord between?
2 metros.
Sí, entre estos dos.
2 metros. 2
2 meters. Yes, entre las dos piezas. El que va a estar por el disco y el que va a estar por su aviónica.
2 metros.
Una vez que ya esté en el
Sí,
aire.
2 metros.
The
Yes, 2
cord,
meters.
the cord is
Yes,
2
to answer
meters?
your question, it will be 2 meters, one from one another.
So when those 2 sections of the rocket come apart, they'll be separated by 2 meters only.
Una vez que sale todo, se va a estar uno del otro a 2
Sí,
metros.
2 metros.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, and
My-
so where is the main parachute attached?
¿Dónde va a estar conectado al principal? Sí, y por la aviónica. The main one will be attached to the avion.
To the end?
Section. Section.
Here.
Can you show me your shot cord, the whole thing in one piece, please? The white shot cord. I'd like to see the entire white shot cord, please.
Todo este blanco.
Okay. Here's where I'm confused, and I'm going to try and say this as slowly and simply as possible. It looks like your parachute shroud lines, the blue ropes, are tied to one end of your shot cord. If the parachute is connecting to one end of your shot cord, how is it connected to your rocket then?
Él dice que así como unido esto. Dice que está unido a este. ¿Qué parte está con qué cohete? Parte de la que no entiendo.
Esta es la parte de la
¿Y ese qué es?
La aviónica está sujetada a esta sección del fuselage. Y el paracaídas a esta sección de no, a esta sección, a esta sección. La aviónica.
Ese por separado. Sí.
Ese, así. No, este pone aviónica y este motor. Esta sección.
Okay, so it's a Y harness.
Yes.
Okay, so the
Ahí.
okay.
No hace falta que ponga, no hace falta que ponga. Ahí está el anillo, el anillo. Ese anillo pasando. Pásale, el otro. Ese, el otro, no.
Va a estar conectado con otra parte.
It will be attached there.
Okay.
Okay, that's one end. Now, but the
Yeah.
other end looked like it had parachute lines attached to it. Or is there does this shot cord have three ends?
No, tiene solo dos. De pronto sí tiene tres. No,
Okay.
one of them will attach here to the avionics, and then the other end of it will be attached to the motor.
Then where is the parachute attached to that shock cord?
Here.
It's a Y harness.
Okay, and that's what I'm trying to get them to
Yes, there.
share. I wanted to be able to see that. Okay.
La parte
I'm sorry, the young lady who's doing the translation, may I have your name, please?
Yes, I'm Gabriela.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I apologize.
She said
My
Gabriel.
name is Gabriela.
Okay. My name is Rob, by the way. Thank you. What I need you to try and explain to them,
Mhm.
that white shock cord is too
Yes.
short. When the rocket flies in the air and it deploys those shock cords, it will leave the pieces of the rocket so close together that they will strike each other and damage the rocket. They need to either add more or get a different shock cord that needs to be at least 3 or 4 times longer than the current shock cord. It should be at least 6 meters, not 2.
Yes. Y bueno, este es demasiado fuerte. Sí, la distancia, porque una vez que esté en el aire, dice que van a estar demasiado cerca y que se pueden dañar uno con otro.
podemos-
Y quiere que alargue, o que cambien o que alarguen esta parte.
Sí.
Entre
Esta
las
parte,
dos piezas.
Sí, entre las dos piezas, esto es lo que está, además es muy corto.
Podemos alargar.
2 metros es muy poquitito.
Ok.
Tiene que ser 2 o 3 veces más largo.
Sí.
Ok.
That's what he said.
Yo recomiendo 3.
They're asking like what's the length you recommend?
It should be at least 6 meters.
2 3 metros. 3 metros.
Okay.
Okay.
Vamos a.
And
Yeah,
you don't need to replace the existing cord. You could just add more to one end, and that would be fine.
yeah, they will do that. Que no hace
Okay.
falta que reemplacen completo,
Now-
podemos agregar más.
Let's look at the same thing for your drogue parachute, please.
Y quiero ver esto.
Ahora tenés que sacar este lado.
Mi mochila, mi mochila. Vení, más atrás. Ahí.
¿Sacar la mochila o voy a cambiar?
Yes, a few.
Yeah.
Sí, como un sargento.
You don't need to connect it. That's fine. I just want to see the shot cord. You don't need to connect it.
Quiero ver más cómo va.
Dale, este no quiero sacarme.
How long is the drogue shot cord? Is it also about 2 meters long?
Este cuántos mide?
En 2 minutos.
Yeah, it is also 2 meters long.
They will need to make this shot cord should actually be longer than the other one.
Okay. Tiene que ser mucho más largo que el otro. Okay.
How much?
If you
How
can
many
make
are-
if you can make them both 6 meters long, that will be okay. But it would be better if you could make the drogue shot cord 7 or 8 meters long.
7, 8.
La aviónica tiene dos sujeciones.
Yes.
Esta es la sujeción del principal.
This one is for the main drug.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. That's fine.
Y este es el otro.
If you can explain to them the reason why the drogue shot cord should be longer is because the rocket is going to fall 9,000 feet with the drogue parachute already out of the rocket. It'll only fall 1,000 feet with the main parachute out. So the opportunity for the pieces of the rocket to slam into each other is much higher with the drogue chute because it spends much more time falling with the drogue chute. That's why we want it to be longer so that the pieces of the rocket can't hit each other in the air.
Okay. Yes. Bueno, ¿no bien? Quiere que este sea más largo porque este cabe más tiempo, desde más altitud. Entonces, para que en el aire no se choquen unos con otros, tiene que ser más largo que el otro para que pueda ir cayendo más lento. Yes. Got it.
Okay. How are you going to connect the pieces of the rocket together? Are you going to use shear pins?
Sharp
La
pin.
sujeción de
Sí,
Sharp
eso
pin.
fue lo que te pregunto. Yes, with sharp pins.
And what are the shear pins going to be made of, please?
Vamos a comprar allá, que son del nylon, porque acá no se ven. ¿No?
They're gonna buy them from there, and they are ones that are from nylon.
Okay. And how many shear pins are you going to use in the various parts of the rocket that you're going to seal with shear pins?
Todo completo.
Completo.
Sí. In total, they will be using 6 of them.
At each joint or 6 of them across both joints?
Sí, por cada
por cada-
unión. Okay. They will be using 3 for each joint.
Okay.
So in total, 6.
Okay.
Este y ese. Porque dos uniones.
Brett, is there anything questions you'd like to ask?
Well, just as a little background, I've discussed with the team black powder in the US versus the flights they've done in Paraguay and Brazil. turns out the kinds of black powder used in each country are allowed in each country are different. So I'm bringing them some 4F black powder. We've been talking about how to convert the charge sizes. We haven't settled on that. I also have e-matches for them. So
Okay. And
we've
we will
talked-
have a place set up out in the field where they can do deployment testing if they want to test with
Yeah,
the 4F powder.
exactly. After the call, I'll review the shock cord lengths and distances with them to be sure that we're good there. I think that's pretty
Okay.
straightforward.
Have they shared with you what their scheme is for retaining their motor? I didn't see a retainer.
I asked this question, but I can't remember. So let's ask again. So,
Okay.
hey guys, could you tell Robin and me what technique, what method you're going to use to hold the motor from Wildman inside the rocket and prevent it from coming out?
Por ¿cómo se llama? Me olvidé el nombre. El perno que viene por el motor. Viene con agujero para atrás. Sí, agujero para atrás.
Traerlo propio.
Sí.
So the motor has its own holes for the bolts to go through it. They will use that.
At the front of the motor? At the top of the motor? Is that the one they're talking about?
El que vaya en el medio, el agujero, es donde va el tornillo.
With the disc that will have holes in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They're using forward retention.
Okay. That bulkhead, the piece of metal you just showed me, you just showed the camera, is going to have a lot of forces acting on it. It will have the force of the motor pushing on it. It will have shock cords pulling on it. There's going to be a lot of forces going through that piece of metal into your airframe. How are you going to attach that piece of metal to your airframe?
Por remaches. Tornillos.
They're using bolts.
Okay.
And how many and where will the bolts be located?
8.
8 y como alrededor.
Alrededor. Y 8 alrededor. Tornillos 12 en 9.
Okay. There will be 8 bolts around this area. And the size of the bolts are 12, 12.9 millimeters. 12.9, that's it.
Do you have one of those bolts that you can show me now?
Para mostrarle. Un tornillito. Yes, they do. Just a minute, please.
Sure.
They are like this ones, but a little bit longer than this ones.
Okay. The problem with a bolt like that is when you tighten it down, it can break the fiberglass because fiberglass is not very strong as you bolt into its side. Your tubes are very strong front to back, but they are not strong side to side. You will need to find some way to make sure you don't crack your fiberglass as you tighten down those bolts.
No, pero entendieron. Dice que sí, es muy blando y que más es por dentro, que tienen que tener cuidado de que eso no rompa otra vez la estructura interna de él.
Sí.
Y que
Decirle que dónde va a estar
Mm.
va a estar antes del bowl.
Okay, so they say that inside of it, they will recover the whole part where the disc is gonna be with carbon fiber. So as to make a double reinforcement on it.
Good. That's an excellent idea. I like that much better than using bolts. I mean, use the bolts too, but glue it in place or use other rings in front of and back of it to reinforce it. That's a very good idea.
Yes, they thought of it.
Okay, good. Um, is there any other part of the rocket that you have there that I have not seen yet?
Sí, tienen otra parte que no le mostraron todavía.
Can you show us the rail buttons that you intend to use?
They do have another question regarding the avionics.
Okay.
Harness.
Ujú.
Bueno, el harness va a ir por esta zona.
Ujú.
Y va a estar conectado a estas terminales
Ujú.
por bolt.
Okay.
Que,
Espera, por parte. ¿Qué es?
y va a estar conectado en esta parte el inhibitor
No.
y en esta parte los cables que vienen de la aviónica.
Y va a atravesar acá.
Y ahí atraviesa con ahí
Okay.
conecta.
So they want to let you know that the wire harness will be going from these holes all the way up here and then connected to this part, also through other holes to connect it to the other side. And it will be like right through it. It will be an internal wire code.
Okay. After they put the wire through, how will they seal the hole around the wire to keep the air from coming back through?
¿Cómo vas a asegurar el agujero después de pasar los cables? ¿Con qué vas a rellenar para que no pase aire por acá por este?
En esta sección vamos a... Sí, pero igual no pero
¿Cómo va a estar sealed? ¿Cómo va a estar sellado?
Al cable.
Sí, al cable.
Al cable.
Sí.
Sí, con pegamento.
Yes, pero que es epoxy.
Epoxy.
They will be using epoxy.
If they use epoxy, they won't be able to remove the wire. Is that okay?
Dice que si usas epoxy no.
Sí, no.
Yes, they don't have problems with that.
Okay.
Gabriela, could you have them show us the rail buttons they plan to attach to the rocket?
Yes, of course. Quieren ver estos reales que van a poner por ahí.
De esta parte, ¿no?
From where? Like the ones that are going outside of it or regarding the avionics?
The ones that go outside the rocket and hold it to the rail when it launches.
Yeah.
Es el real que va a ir por afuera del cohete. Quiere ver los tornillos reales que van a usar por afuera.
Para eso.
They haven't buy them yet.
Okay, so they plan to buy them.
They will use the ones that looks like this, but a little bit longer.
But that's not a rail button. That's a bolt. A rail button is a very different thing.
Los remaches van encima.
Sin remache.
Sí, el botón se va a ver arriba. A eso le dice button. O sea, va a ir este y después va a tener un remache.
No, solamente.
Sí, eso es lo que pregunta. So you're asking that the bolts are gonna go through it, and then you're asking like the button that goes up in.
So yeah.
Sí. El remache que va encima.
Por estos tipos de remaches, la cabeza sale y queda más como una tapa aerodinámica. Vamos a cambiar por remache.
They're asking if instead of the bottom they can use this.
No. They have to use a rail button like this.
Vamos todavía no practicamos. Para el riel. Sí.
Sí.
Ese vamos a mandar mecanizar de aluminio.
Okay. They're gonna prepare it out of aluminum, but they're gonna make it. van a mandar preparar. Lo van a hacer ustedes.
Do they know the right size to make it? Because it has to be fit just right into the rail.
Saben la medida exacta que tienen que mandar a hacer porque tiene que ser así,
Sí.
exacto. Por
Sí.
Yes, they do.
Sabemos
Ok.
por los datos de la página.
¿Qué página?
Sí.
Ah. Yes, they do. Sí. They have consulted the guidelines from the competition and they found as well the exact size the competition is asking for.
Okay, that's fine.
Can you ask them how they plan to attach those buttons to the fiberglass airframe, please?
¿Cómo van a poner eso a esto? Es lo que le mostró, los botones. ¿Cómo van a poner? ¿Cómo van a explicar?
Uno va a estar por este
Ujú.
y el otro va a estar en la sección cerca de la aviónica.
En eso ahorita.
Sí, en uno de ellos.
So they said that one of them is going to be attached to this one, to the disc, and the
Yep.
other one is going to be attached to the holes that are for the avionic section.
That looks pretty high on
Yes,
the
it does.
airframe. So
Well,
ask them,
it does have three of them, like different. ¿Y este dónde va a estar?
Y ese.
Y ese va a tener agujeros como este.
Sí.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So the disc will go here, and this one is the one that will have the holes like this one.
Okay.
go ahead, Rob. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
One of the rail buttons has to be at the very bottom of the rocket down by the fins. Are they going to put a rail button way down at the bottom by the fins?
Como que se van a poner uno bien abajo hacia donde están los agujeros. Ya hacia donde están los discos estos.
Abajo que. Sí, en este disco.
Yes.
Pero ese disco. Sí. Lo tengo ahí.
Yes. One of them, like the very low one, is gonna be attached to this one
Okay.
at the
Okay. All right. Good.
That's for.
All right, then I think I've gotten about what I can from the pieces they have. They've got quite a bit of work left to do, obviously, but it seems like they've got a good direction that they're heading.
Yeah. So guys, one last question for you. Do you have a plan for when you will finish all of the work that is left to complete your rocket? When do you think you'll be done?
In 2 weeks. Your plan to finish it in 2 weeks.
Okay, so around June 1st, something like that.
Okay. Will you have an opportunity to connect with them again, or would you like me to try and set up a time with them to take another look at it once it's more complete?
I think it would be best if I took a first pass.
That's fine. I'm
And
totally
we
down with that.
had you take a look at it after that.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll work with them and we'll get something tentatively on your schedule once they've had a chance to maybe think through what we learned tonight too. So they may want to take a little more time. So I'm thinking the first week of June will be important, but I think we'll probably still be able to sync up during that week before heading out.
Okay, that works. All right,
Okay.
then team, thank you very much for your time today. I will report back that I'm satisfied with the progress of the rocket today, but share with them that there are certain things that still need to be worked on, obviously. And I look forward to seeing you all in Texas.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much as well for your.
yeah, great. Marcos and Gabriela, I want to thank you guys, and I'll follow up maybe tomorrow by email, and maybe we could set up another meeting just with me before we talk to Rob again, for some time when you're close to being done, probably maybe in a week and a half, something like that. So I'll send an email to you and we'll set up another call. But in the meantime, go, and good luck finishing off the rocket that you've got in front of you.
And
Thank
Brett,
you.
you're going to forward the recording onto the HeroX website?
Yeah, I'll do that, and I'll carbon you and Marcos.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you all. I wish you a safe trip back up to the United States, and I look forward to seeing you all in Texas.
Nos
Thank
vemos.
you so much, Mr.
pronto.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gabriela. Painful.